It is time to raise up the lie flat because the 49ers have given Mac Jones a pay raise and they've restructured Jake Brendel's contract. So, emergency 49ers update from 40,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean. Same seats, by the way, that they're going to be using to fly around 38,000 plus miles, an NFL record this year. 49ers fly United, and they get these nice, comfortable Polaris seats to make sure that that 16-hour flight to Australia won't be too bad. Compression socks are on, and as you can see, really efficient use of space. They've got a little miniature shoe rack right below where you can stretch out your feet. $300,000 pay raise to Mac Jones, given to him via a roster bonus. So he is now in line to make $3.55 million this year. Can make another $2.25 million on top of that via incentives. Remember, Mac cashed in on quite a few incentives last year because he started half the season for the 49ers, kept it afloat, finished number 10 in QBR. He outperformed most starters last year. Somehow, some way, the 49ers were able to get Mac to sign a 2-year contract in 2025, which is why they still have him under contract this offseason. They demanded a first-round pick in exchange for Mac Jones. Obviously, nobody offered that on the trade market, so Mac stays put at the bargain rate, and I think it's healthy organizational practice to reward good performance, especially when it exceeds the job description as much as Mac Jones' play did in 2025. This is how you build an organization that players want to come to. Like Mike Evans is a good example from this past offseason. If you're willing to give $300,000 to Mac Jones as a gesture of appreciation for how good he was in 2025, well, word gets around the NFL. The pay distribution for Mac Jones, $1.4 million in base salary, $1.4 million in option bonus that's prorated over 5 years. That was already preset into the contract. $340,000 total per game roster bonus money this year. A $100,000 workout bonus, which is going to be earned starting tomorrow, or technically today with OTAs, but tomorrow the media is going to be out there for the first time during OTAs, and the new $300,000 roster bonus for Mac, who, you know, people talked about an extension for Mac Jones this offseason. That never made sense. He wants free agency in 2027 because then you'll have the leverage for a real substantial pay raise. Mac Jones at $3.5 million per year over the course of his 2-year deal with the 49ers. If he does reach free agency next offseason, you could expect that number to be significantly higher. The fact that he's still under team control here for 2026 means that the size of any potential raise was very, very limited. However, Mac obviously will say yes to the $300,000 bonus given by the 49ers. He does, though, continue to stand in line next offseason to see bridge quarterback money. I think that's how Mac Jones would naturally graduate back into a starting position. That would be over $10 million per year, and obviously would be much more than $3.5 million per season. So options on the table for Mac Jones, and the 49ers doing the right thing organizationally for a player very popular in their building. It was very good for them last year. Now to Jake Brendel. The 49ers converted $3 million of his 2026 base salary to reduce his 2026 salary cap number by $2 million. So Brendel's salary cap number had been over $5 million. It is now $3.1 million. Big picture, the 49ers now have over $72 million in 2026 salary cap space, way more than anybody else for this season. The Titans at number 2, way back there at $54 million. Now, people are going to read too far into this. This does not change anything about the prospects of Jake Brendel's future with the 49ers. He's going to turn 34 this year. He's entering his final year under contract. We knew entering this that Jake Brendel would be the starting center for San Francisco this year, and we did not know entering this whether or not he'd be with the team beyond 2026, and we still don't know. I've talked about the 49ers drafting Carver Willis and out of Jed Fish's program at Washington and considering him a candidate for center of the future. But this Jake Brendel financial maneuver has nothing to do with any of those potential machinations. The 49ers operationally recognize that the salary cap is increasing by very large amounts on a year-over-year basis. Therefore, they are more than happy to push salary cap hits into the future and pay those hits, or at least the majority of those hits, when the salary cap is projected to be higher. Because every payment, therefore, is a smaller percentage of salary cap. I call it surfing the wave of the rising salary cap. So just to give you an idea, the 49ers this year have $72 million in 2026 space, which is the most in the NFL. But next year, the 49ers are projected to be $35 million over the salary cap. So they're going to have to move money around to get under the salary cap next year. Now, one of the ways that they're going to be able to get under it through moving money around is that unused salary cap space from 2026 will carry over into 2027. This is all part of the 49ers' larger structure. They've already restructured Nick Bosa's contract this offseason. Didn't pay him any extra money, but converted base salary into signing bonus. And because those signing bonuses are prorated for up to 5 years against the salary cap, it's spread like an accordion, as I say, over the course of multiple seasons. Same thing here going on with Jake Brendel for the 49ers. They're not any more committed to him than they already were. They knew that he was going to get that base salary this year, so they simply converted it to signing bonus, and they're just going to pay for it later with more carryover possibilities moving into the future. So Brendel will be the starter. That is not a surprise for the center position now. Carver Willis might be that guy. Somebody else might be that guy post-2026. I think that the biggest news here is that Jake Brendel did not sign an extension. He only restructured his contract. And, if you look at the other piece of news too, Mac Jones also did not sign an extension. Technically also restructured his contract by getting the $300,000 roster bonus. The 49ers have shored things up from both a compensation perspective for Jones and a cap perspective for Jake Brendel this offseason, but they have not altered the terms of those contracts. I'm sure that Brendel would love a longer term. I'm sure that Mac Jones is happy with the term of his contract right now. Jones wants to hit free agency because he stands to make a heck of a lot more money. Jake Brendel entering his age 34 season, I'm not really sure how high the earning potential is for him beyond this season. So that should give you guys an idea of where the 49ers are at financially right now. Number one in cap space, $72 million. Yes, they give themselves operational flexibility by pushing money backwards like this against the cap. They can make a big splash trade over the course of the season. You've got to have enough cap space to absorb it. They can make signings if there are players whom they want. I know everybody's going to ask about Joey Bosa, but the vast majority of this money is going to have to be carried over into 2027 and beyond. You look at Purdy's contract, you look at Bosa's contract, you look at Trent Williams' contract. All of these are built on staggered accordion scales to where the salary cap hits are stretched into the future, and therefore they become more expensive. So the 49ers have done this better than anyone as far as pushing money into the future. I would say a couple expected moves. With Brendel, a standard restructure, and for Mac Jones, well, the 49ers have become a popular destination for a reason. That's because they treat their players right. $300,000, it's not nothing as a pay raise to Mac Jones as the 49ers enter OTAs. I'm flying back over the Atlantic Ocean. You saw that I was in Prague. I'm going to be back in the Bay Area. OTAs coming up. 49ers organized team activities. Veterans and rookies will be out on the field. So hit that subscribe button. Nobody else is giving you 49ers updates from the sky, but we're dedicated here, and we'll talk to you soon.